Okay, there we go.
Hi.
Go ahead. I didn't. You were saying that was so good, such a good way to introduce it. I thought that maybe we could just go ahead and hit live, and you could.
No, that's good. No, I was just commenting about how I'm liking that you girls are coming out and speaking, you women, and getting it out there and wanting to get it out there in the right way, and people coming on to help get the word out for the right reasons. Um, a lot of times, especially when cases get to become a high profile, the right reasons get lost, and I don't want that to happen in this case. I think it's too
I told
important.
Ty, and Ty can tell you, I told her when all this first happened, I messaged her. I said, Ty, take our names off everything because I don't want this to discredit anybody. Didn't I,
Yeah.
Ty? I
Mhm.
was
That's what
terrified
I
that,
absolutely will not. I said,
she
no,
said, I ain't doing that.
no.
She said, and I'm like, okay.
No, we know what's going on here, and I knew it was going to come out, and
Yeah,
that you would be able to prove it. Like I knew it. Like
yeah,
Well,
I didn't doubt it. Just like I told her
it
before, I
also
didn't doubt her before either.
there's so much going on, and a lot of talk can be out there in a lot of these cases, and I try to avoid
Hmm.
the extra talk and get down to what's important. Even like with this conversation you guys are having this morning before your phone died, um, I didn't know that your daughter had been arrested. First, I didn't know she was your daughter, right? So take
yeah,
that complete. I saw the interview on Court TV. I was proud of her for speaking out. She seemed very credible. I didn't have a reason not to believe her. She seemed very kind. And then
yeah,
when you mentioned this morning she was your daughter, I was like, oh hell, now I can see it because she looks a lot like you. And
Yeah.
but it feels like it almost feels like if you do speak out, of course, you're going to get targeted a lot of times.
yeah,
But it feels like they're going heavy now, even with the comments being in the articles in the newspaper and things of that. I've been watching all of that and paying
yeah,
attention to all the things that matter to me because I can't with this. Gossip is great and cool and you learn a lot, but I can't sit in that place for hours and hours and hours. I got to go dig
yeah.
and find what we can. What can we
Yeah.
use
What
and
can we
that
use?
would benefit
Right.
us or the cases, you know what I mean? Because the talk and
Yeah.
the rhetoric isn't going to benefit it unless it
No,
can bring out something.
Yeah.
no. And that's what
We
one
know
thing that
you're putting it
scares
out.
me is that something, like what happened or something else that would sidetrack what's really going on, you know, and I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I
No.
want them to, you know, know all everybody's truth, and that's why I was quiet. I've stayed quiet. I've only talked to Ty,
Yeah.
and I told her, I said, this is, I didn't know about the article. And, so it was kind of like, wait a minute,
I checked that paper from time to time, but I didn't know about that article. I just finished an article a couple days ago, and then I was unpacking some other stuff, another case, and then I saw this, and I was like, wait a minute. So I went and I found it a little while ago, and I read through it, and I also went onto the Knoxville County website over there and looked up some things as well, going back to
yeah,
what you were saying this morning, and a lot of things like I'm going to use this example like with the Rex Heuermann case. All of his victims were women and young girls that he thought nobody was going to care about. Nobody was going to look for or put much effort in. Here it feels like certain types of people were targeted because they could, and if you weren't easily discredited before, you can become easily discredited later. So now
yeah,
we have victims speaking out that we can easily discredit. Look at her history. She doesn't have her kids. She was in jail for her pot. She was in whatever. She was
yeah,
writing letters to a boy that was no good. Come on now. What about
None.
y'all's dirty laundry?
Yeah.
yeah,
What caused all this? Because if you listen to the stories, you see the connections.
Yes.
yeah. They all tie in, together. And, like for one story ends, somebody else's story picks up and they can fill in the puzzle piece that we couldn't figure out with that one. And then they all kind of they're all fitting together. and that's why I said, it's kind of almost proof that it's not, they're not lying. And that would have been the perfect opportunity to said that girl's lying. She lied about everything, but they couldn't. They couldn't. All they could do was try to make her look horrible, basically.
Yeah, so
And
I had something I don't know if you guys had even if you saw my comment earlier when you were chatting about it. I don't know much about the guy that was arrested with your daughter, anything about his background. So I wondered, I was like, well, damn, they're in another state. They got all this stuff in the car. He had all this stuff in the car. Was there a possibility that did he set her up in some kind of way? Was there?
I don't know. It's his hometown they were in.
Okay, I was wondering that. Why were they in this location?
Yeah, they had just took his child home. He had his child for the weekend. And it was the weekend that we didn't have our babies. So he had his child. So they were taking her home when all this happened. Thank God the child was already home, but still, and with the messages of Sarah going off about his daughter, about certain things he's been letting her do and things, and Sarah having, I sent you those messages too, I think, Ty. And, Sarah telling him, hey, she's a kid. You don't need to let her do this and that and whatever, and them having arguments over it and stuff. And, so, there's a lot to it that, people just, they don't know,
They don't know. And if nobody bothers to ask, how can they know?
Right.
They're going to report that side of it, then they need to at least ask the rest of the parties.
Well, that's investigative journalism. You listen and provide both sides and let the audience make up their opinion. And they're
that doesn't happen a lot enough.
That didn't even print that she's never been in trouble.
Never. He has a record. He has a record, and he's a felon. That's why the gun charge was such a big deal, because he was a felon. She's not, so
for him it would have been a big deal. He's supposed to take it upon himself to know where he is at all times, and if anybody he's with has got a firearm. That's on him, not her. But let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier about her not having her kids. That really isn't a concern to me, but I wonder when did she lose her kids? Was it after she stopped working at the jail? I'm trying to figure out when she started getting into trouble, what caused it.
I'm going to explain it.
Okay.
If this will help. Okay. So Sarah has always relied on me, because of certain reasons and things. And so, but me and the other grandma had visitation worked out with each other. We have since the youngest was born. We had visitation worked out because she had the oldest child. Okay, so we had visitations worked out. Well, that weekend was the weekend that the baby was supposed to go to their house. So I took her for the visit, and I have all the messages from the other grandmother talking about, do you need us to meet you here to pick her up, blah, blah, blah. So I've done all that. And so I took, and the next day, her and the baby's daddy got into a very bad argument because they were going to try to get back together, but Sarah was still with that inmate, or the guy. He was out of jail. He was out by this time. And they didn't want the baby around them. We all agreed that was fine. And so that was on Saturday. Well, then Sunday we were supposed to go pick her up because I'd done all the transporting with the kids. And I was going to go pick them up. And about 6:30 that evening, because I got a message from the dad, which I have that too, telling me that he was sorry and he would never keep her from us, but that he felt that he needed to keep her and start being a part of her life. And that he didn't think that the situation Sarah was in was what he thought it should be or whatever. And even though I tried to tell him, if you don't want your daughter around him, tell me, and I'll make sure it doesn't happen. They had already made up their mind they wasn't returning her. So since May 19th of last year, 24, we've been trying to get her home. Her oldest child, though, when we got visitation, evidently Sarah wasn't too unfit, because the oldest child wasn't even in the agreement to have visitation. It was just the younger one. But they said that they would send them both, and I had to, be there and all this stuff. So, that was fine. And visitation, the first one was, I think, January 25th, or we got the order on that day. I've got all the paperwork from court. And so we got the visitation of every other weekend in January. All right. We've been going back and forth to court, and every time we'll ask, can we have more time? And it gets pushed. Just, for some reason or another, we've not got any more extra time, or nothing's really changed with it. And now this happened.
Well, was this a situation where she voluntarily allowed you guys to take the children and care for them for the most part? Was there something that I don't care. I mean, I care,
There's
of
no
course.
paperwork. See,
What she did to cause it isn't that what I'm just trying to figure out when her troubles started with the system, because it seems like a lot of kids get removed from homes.
That's
You know what I
the
mean?
thing.
So I'm just wondering about that.
We have zero. Not with the oldest child and not with the youngest child. We have zero. Goose egg. There's nothing in social services. There's no report of abuse, neglect, nothing on our part, anything. It was just daddy got mad because mommy wouldn't come home. And it was kind of a, okay, I'll hit you where it hurts, basically. And, I have a message of him saying we can see her any time. And even the grandmother telling me I can talk to the other grandchild anytime, back when this first happened. Yeah. And so when I was like, hey, wait, our visit come up this past week. And like I said, I understand. But still, it's like I told her, I didn't ever keep the babies from them, because like I said, there's no paperwork. Now they did do paperwork with the oldest child. Sarah thought it was in the best interest at that time, and the grandmother, they were supposed to revisit it, but they never did. We filed paperwork in 2020 to get a court date. I have all that documented proof too. And because of COVID, they never set us a court date to go back to talk about the oldest child, trying to get him back. And that was in 2020. Well, she had the youngest one in 21, so things were going smoothly, like I was letting them see her and they was letting me see him.
Right.
So it was, pretty much things were.
So it was all a mutual thing, and everybody was doing what was best for the kids and getting along and everything. Right.
I have pictures. I have pictures of us going, like me and my family going to their family for Christmas and Thanksgiving. Right. That way the kids had all their family together. We always did what we thought was in the best interest of those babies.
So it wasn't like the state came in, charged her with some stuff, took her kids, took her to court. It was like a mutual family thing. And I get that, because that's not, there's no shade about that at all. I commend women and young women who do allow that to happen. Like, I'm not the best right now. This is going to be a better situation for the child. I have no problem with that. So I was just trying to figure out if they stormed in with the system and got her kids like that, and now they're railroading her on different things because, to make her look bad, credibility-wise, and all these
Yeah.
things, because
Yeah.
she's chosen to speak out and talk about her experience there.
Right. Right.
Um,
Because she's never, like I said, nothing more than the speeding ticket has she ever got in trouble for. Her
mhm.
time at the jail, she's always been upfront, honest, and open about it. She'll tell you, yes, this happened and that happened, blah, blah. And, but like I said, the only reason social services got involved was Daniel Dotson said that the children needed a guardian ad litem, which is Ashley Sturgill. And so that's the only involvement social services have in it, is that the children have a guardian ad litem, or well, the
Right.
youngest one does. The oldest one, I think, just got brought into the case because Sarah's attorney thought it would probably be best. But it's a situation now. They've took the kids. We have nothing to lose. So
Here's one of my biggest concerns with this whole Letcher County situation. The women that are coming out and speaking about what their experiences have been and what has been done to them and how they were wronged, they're all adults. Now, were they consenting adults or not is not really the issue for me, but it will be for a court.
Yeah.
And I know when Taya's situation, when she was talking, going back to when she was, 16, are there currently any minors that were involved in whatever was going on before the judge was shot that would now be comfortable enough to come forward with a parent or something? I don't know what it's going to take.
The age
know
of
what I mean?
consent is 16 in Kentucky still.
Really?
But now here, I know this for a reason, and we'll get into this later on down the road, why I know. But in Kentucky, though, if you are in a position, you're in a position of authority,
Right.
that doesn't count.
Then
So
it's all bets off. Okay.
all bets off. So, if you're in a position of authority, like a foster parent or
Right.
a judge or whatever.
Well, there's a law in the books here in Florida about that too. It's a special circumstance. If you're like in charge or overseeing the child's well-being and you were the one that harms them, that's different. That's a whole other next level.
Right.
So if they have their consent law at 16 and say a 16, 17-year-old girl comes forward and says, you know what, months before that shooting, I did blah, 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 would it matter because she's over 16 then when this occurred? That's crazy to me, And I know,
It
again,
doesn't matter.
backwards laws and all. And Taya, you were talking about how things were done or are done back in our neck of the woods, so to speak. I had an uncle who was married. When he married his wife, she was 13 years old.
Yeah.
But that was a whole different time, right? A whole ass different time. My dad would not have, no, you wouldn't have married his daughter at 13 years
Well,
old.
I got married at 17. I got married at 17, and I finished high school, went to college with kids. It was normal. It was kind of normal.
It was normal even in my world. My mother was 17 years old when she gave birth to me. I was 21 when I had my first one. I couldn't imagine being younger than that, but my mom did it, and she had 4 kids, and we were raised good, and we had, all the things, but it was a different time. Now it isn't, and laws are different, and it's I don't care 16, 17, 18. Right. But a girl at 17 or 18 thinking she's in love and getting married is one thing, but a 16-year-old girl being forced to do unpleasant things in a back room in a storage closet, that's a whole fucking other show, right?
Right.
Yeah, no. And it feels like targeting young people, you could target and discredit at some point.
See, that's been.
Go ahead, Vicky. I was going to say the consent thing with people in authority, like you were saying.
Yeah.
That's why it should have been a PRIA for everyone involved, including the jailer and all, should have been named in that lawsuit against Ben Fields, because regardless of him being a sheriff's deputy employee or whether he was a jail deputy employee, he is still the jailer over that innocent victim who has no right by law
To say.
Because she is by law in the care, she is a ward of the state.
Well, it kind of proves their carelessness with it, because they knew Sarah was dating this boy. They knew that she was dating him when she was hired, you know,
I thought I heard you say that.
Yeah, and so that's why the inappropriate phone calls. He was at another jail. He wasn't in Letcher County jail. He was in Pike County. And so the phone calls come from Pike County. You know, he wasn't in Letcher County jail, and they knew that.
So it was she at the jail? Okay, was she at the jail on duty during these calls? Did they come to the county jail or to her personal cell phone?
They would have come to her personal cell phone.
Right. So what the hell's happening here? Right. It wouldn't have come to the Letcher County jail looking for her, you know, call from another inmate from another. That's ridiculous.
No bearing whatsoever. And they were aware of her relationship with him when she was hired.
And so when he got moved from Pike to Letcher, the first thing they told her was, you can break up with him and continue to work. But then she got called the next morning when she was given time to think about it, and told her, no, you know, you're fired. Which she was like, okay. You know, she didn't, you know, go crazy or ham or nothing. You know, she said, okay. You know,
I can understand that position. I mean, even locally, we don't need it. We don't need jailers dating the inmates and vice versa. It gets messy. Things get sideways too easily when those things happen. But we're not talking about a up and up jail here either. We're talking about messy situations to begin with.
Right.
But I feel like if anybody was to come out and say anything negative, are they digging in now to find something? Are they going to go back and find what you did 5 years ago and that one little thing you did, you know, yesterday, whatever, you know, things like that? They were really trying to figure out if they're really targeting people. And like you guys, nobody's ever spoke out to
We was warned. We got warned
in the comments just now on that last live and said that, I better watch out because they know some dirt on me. So come on with it, because it ain't nothing I ain't going to tell you my damn self.
I was about to say, girl, I haven't heard you deny anything. You own your shit. That's what I like about you.
And Sarah does too.
Ask and we'll tell you.
And she's been up front. She has shared all of this on her social media before she came forward. This is all in public.
So I went and checked out some of y'all's social media, because I'll be honest, I'm not real big. I used to be a lot more active on TikTok. I kind of shut that down, but I did revisit my old account yesterday, and I dropped a video, not about Letcher County, but those are coming, because I wanted to see if I could I wanted to see if my community was still there and active, because I got it's a whole separate world, YouTube and TikTok. Right. And I'm very well aware of that. The community I have there is not the same as my YouTube community, and you can't do much crossover, but I can get the same word out the same way on both platforms. And I don't do the crazy TikTok stuff, but I went back over there on purpose because I wanted to see some of the stuff that's being out there. I've, looked at some of the stuff on Facebook, and then trying to decipher what's really important, what's really not, but how many people are really coming out and how many of those are being targeted. But like you had mentioned, Taya, nobody from the Mountain Eagles even contacted you, and you went on Court TV, you spoke out, and did a good interview there. You've been on my panel, on my show, and done an interview, but yet they're not coming to you about an interview with, a follow-up to what you did when you went on mainstream media, or nothing. It's like radio silence. I don't get it. So
see, Sarah was scared when she first went to jail. She said, I'm terrified, Mom. And I kept saying, honey, it's okay. People, they won't know who you are. They won't know who you are. They knew she was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, But
Well,
I
she
have to
has
say,
every right to be afraid. I mean, because she doesn't know what to expect, what they're capable of doing, what they're
well, I
capable of
mean,
doing while
we
she's in there.
can't really say who or what, but you know, we have been warned. You know that we need to be careful. We got warned last night.
Here's the thing. They want to continue to send out the warning flags and warning notices. People are going to start taking notice of the warnings. And they're going to want to know who the hell is warning you and why. Why are we being warned to be silent? Why?
Yeah. Why
Y'all
are you
aren't
defending the predators?
right. You can't come out and have a conversation and show some proof these are good stand-up guys and these women are all telling lies. You know, go counteract that
I can prove
versus
that I'm a good
trying to
person.
discredit them.
Like,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
feel like
we've
I do that
all
daily
had our
for a
struggles.
very long time now. You know, like I've
We've
done
all
some
had our struggles. We've all made mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, anytime corruption to any extent, no matter how small, how big, starts getting talked about, starts getting exposed, this starts to happen across the board. I don't care
See
if it's
what?
politics down to small town corruption, and it can go. People don't understand how high up it can actually go sometimes, right? If it's just localized, do the locals have higher ups in the government? Are they buying the people down below? You know what I mean?
They're
Does
all
it, you know,
kin. They're all kin.
exactly right.
They're all family.
Yeah,
That's
they're
my
all
cousin.
family were appointed.
I got a shitload of cousins. I get it.
Yeah.
I got one of them giant families.
Almost every elected official that we have here has been appointed. At this
right.
Yeah.
I've been looking
into
at all of that as
live
well.
here can't vote anyway. We're all convicted felons because they've made sure of it. So
that's how they control the community a little bit.
That's another way that it's controlled.
It's exactly it. Another way to control.
Keeps ignoring us and ignoring us and ignoring us.
Well, and a lot of times,
I keep calling him out, but
yeah, a lot of times in these small towns and close-knit communities, they keep certain people in certain positions for reasons, right? Good old boy system and things of that nature. And I always wondered, just evaluating everything over the past year, like with Mickey especially, was Mickey put in the positions he was put in because of who Mickey was? Mickey was going to be easy to pull things over on. Mickey would be easy to you know what I mean? We can control Mickey.
He was getting ready to be the courthouse's Benfields, is how I feel. They were getting ready to let him hang when it come to that deposition.
Oh yeah. He
knew there was more to come out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
I
feel that in my.
He tried to get them to open an investigation before the shooting, before any of this ever happened.
Yep.
I'm told before the Ben thing came out, he tried to get an investigation.
He tried.
I've heard that as well. Do we have any documentation on that? Where Mickey filed a notice or Mickey filed a complaint or an interview? I don't see documentation of that anywhere.
Honestly, Mickey covered the ankle bracelet just like Ben. And my son was on ankle bracelet with Mickey. Mickey was over it. And not one time was he, and I was younger then, but, you know, was he inappropriate? Did he offer, you know, any kind of, you know, he was very, very business. You know, here's your receipt.
I was wondering,
see you. You know,
right? So Mickey was the bailiff before Fields became the bailiff.
That's
and
what
Mickey was over. Mickey was over the ankle monitors at that point. So apparently, Mickey never. There was never any sex exchange going on during Mickey's time as the ankle monitor guy.
None that I'm aware of. None that I'm aware of that has come out.
Mickey used to be the one that would come down and get you sometimes for court. Not every time, but sometimes he was the one that would come and, you know, take you up and down on the elevator. And in jail, we would try to fix our faces up, you know, and put fake makeup on our faces and, you know, fix it pretty for the judges and stuff, you know, for court. Yeah. And he would get so mad. And I don't know, I'm sure that there's other girls that remember this. And I hope that if y'all listening, that if you do, you'll comment or say so. But there was multiple times that Mickey made me go back to the cell and wash my face before he would let me get on the elevator and go to court. And they said that I could do house arrest, but Mickey kept saying no, 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 or we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. So he never let me even have the opportunity to go on house arrest at that point. And it was during the same time whenever Ben Fields was doing these things.
Oh, okay.
And it makes me wonder now,
if Mickey was
and
aware
all
of
the other victims that I've spoken to,
Mhm.
which now Sabrina Adkins said that she had heard that Mickey was bad too, but I don't think she knows that from
I
personal
think Mickey
experience.
just knew
And I
too
think
much.
it's something else. I think
I think you're
I
right.
think he knew too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brandy, I can see that. I think that
Yeah.
Mickey
And
might have started
if
learning
just the
things.
thought,
Everybody knows Mickey was a
just
good
the
upstanding guy, and that he was down for getting the drugs and shit out of here.
yeah,
He was
he
down
was.
for protecting us.
Yeah,
And everybody
that's
knows
one
it.
thing.
That's
Yeah,
why the prosecutor don't want that trial here, because
So
he knows what they were doing here.
the concept. If I got to thinking about it, if I had that level of stress on me, and
mhm.
it could be me facing this, and if this other stuff comes out, well, who's getting in trouble for it? I, I, I don't know what I'd have
And it
done.
makes me wonder if
I
he's aware
really
of
don't know
the
what I
people
would have
he's
done.
hearing and stuff. I wonder, like, what his suspicions are or thoughts are on the missing
Look,
people.
I
to
think
me
that's
it
why
comes
that
People like
whole
Jennifer
"do
Hill.
yourself
I would
in"
love
thing
it.
come
I would
out.
give about anything to hear his thoughts on Jennifer Hill.
to me it's pretty cut and dry. Either Mickey absolutely knew everything and wasn't going down alone, or he knew what was going on, was never a part of it, but he's like, I'm not going down for you guys. This is getting serious, right?
And have you
That's what I
seen that they
feel.
would make
So
fun of him and stuff and
yeah.
like say mean things to him and things like that, and like they laugh about it like it's just a running joke. But
Like
think
he
about
was a
it.
dupe,
Think
he
about
was
that.
just
He's the outsider. He's
gullible.
the one that
Exactly.
was elected and won the election. Right?
Exactly.
And
Gullible is
then
the
he's
word.
really coming in wanting to bust these guys and put them out. So they belittle him. They use the same tactics that they use with us, with the degradation, with the psychological games, and the
Well,
making
you
fun
can't
of
mess
him.
up the business. And when I say that, I mean,
Yes.
it
To keep him in
almost
his
feels
place and
like,
keep him small.
yeah, it feels like to me a part of this is going to, and because of the arc and everything, and with Clark being involved in different things and
See,
the drug
that's
rehabs, I feel like, so
this is such a
big,
bigger scale. My
yeah,
thing before Sarah spoke up, my thing was the jail, the
mm,
treatment of inmates, the stuff that my family had went through, and dealing with things. And you got to think, Mickey has been a bailiff. He was the bailiff for Jim Woods, who was over juvenile drug court, who was over, all this. And you had Kevin as an attorney. You had all these things going on years ago
Yeah,
that
these
Mickey
aren't.
has stood there and watched, and probably
Tell me how
thought,
far
holy
back it
crap.
goes, Brandy. Tell him how far
Huh?
back. Tell him how far back this goes. Kevin wasn't the first one. He stepped into a position, and so
oh
did
yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like
because you got to
they
think
just
there's a
pulled
whole
some things out.
judge. If you
There's a
go
whole
back and look
generation.
at articles and stuff that was wrote, you got Kevin and Mickey both saying Jim Woods was like a father to him. So
right.
you
So
got that,
I
and
I've
you got
gotten that
the
impression that the judge Mullins was primed and groomed and put in place to take over or whatever this was. But I
yeah.
also feel like it's going to go much deeper than just a couple of dirty old men in town having their way with the townswomen. It's going to go much deeper. And when I say that,
A
into the
lot deeper.
drug
I
rehab.
mean, when you
If
go,
you got,
it
if
goes
you
back
watch,
to when I was in high school in the
right,
90s. In the
exactly.
90s,
Because
you
I'm
had
in
Jimmy
Florida.
Crashcat, at that
Well,
time.
here in Florida, we had the two brothers out of Miami who started the pill mills, and it was rampant in my state. In fact, just 2 months ago, we busted another pill mill pharmacy. They're sitting in jail right now. This also bled right on up into the Appalachians, and it went ballistic, right? It blew up like a nuclear bomb. Who do you
Yeah.
think's bringing that stuff into your state and lining their pockets with the funds received from those things?
These doctors.
Okay. Then you
They
get
got hit this week.
involved, and then once we get you hooked, now we got to get you into recovery and make more money. Here comes your Medicaid fraud, Michael Clark. Now we got them addicted. We're selling it to them to get them addicted. Then we're going to treat them and make money off their recovery. And if they don't play ball the way we want in the bedroom, we're going to throw them back in the jail and take their babies. Can we sum it up in a nice little package like that? Because I'm willing to go down that road.
Yeah, and I can tell you the connections. You got what our county prosecutor, his brother, just I think wasn't he the one that they took out of Mountain Comp?
Dan Breeding?
No, that Hatton.
Oh, not Jamie Hatton. Larry Hatton?
Or no, John, Dr. Hatton, but it's Jamie's brother or cousin.
One of them. They're all kin to the Hatton brothers in town too, and the Hatton that's in fucking Frankfurt too.
And they've got the contract on the jail. So all the inmates that are getting MAT counseling and all that, it's going through Jamie Hatton's brother.
And if you think
down at Mountain Comp
here, you've lost your mind.
Well, and when you got people involved in a conspiracy and doing dirty deeds, you got to at some point, will one of those people involved break, right? And Mickey might have been that break that we think.
That's what I think.
To make a conspiracy work, everybody has to stay silent and stay. Now, if they're not just protecting the town judges and whoever was getting it on with the girls, they're also protecting whoever's funneling in all the drugs to the towns to begin with, the higher ups. It will start all the way up, and people can sit there and say, "Well, it's got to be just local." Don't be so sure. You can't ever be so sure. And I live in a county where I got 2 other counties flanking me. We're all one and the same, basically. The 3-county area, it's kind of like we don't even realize we just traveled into the other county. We're so damn, you know what I mean? It's a very close network type of deal. All the cops out here know each other from one county to the next. I can be in Alabama in 20 minutes in a bunch of different directions. So the Alabama cops even work with the Florida cops, work in the state line. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that goes on around.
That's why Sarah got so scared. I mean, that first, she called me from jail and she was bawling. She said, "Mom, she said, something's going to happen." She was terrified. And, and I was like, "Honey, you're in a different state and this and that." And she's like, "Mom, think, and I'm like, "I don't want to," It's like, oh my God, so it's been.
Well, knowing the things that and knowing your daughter went and spoke out on a national media program, and now she's in a county jail facing charges, it makes you go, what in the world is happening? It's not, it's too easy to chalk it up as to, oh, well, she's not credible now. Look at her ass sitting over there in the jail. That's too easy to do. You got to look deeper. And sometimes you won't find anything when you're looking deeper, and sometimes you find a treasure trove and go, oh my God, And so, to keep talking about it, I was glad this morning I got up with my coffee. I saw Ty was going live. I'm like, hell, I'm here for this shit. So I'm glad you got it all worked out and came back up. Thanks for having me up. I appreciate it.
It's been a very full night. All kinds of information.
I
haven't been to bed. My hair's a mess. But but we're here, right? That's all that matters.
That's what matters. I love your messy hair. I think, I think you're adorable. I love your honesty.
She says, I think my hair is hair, and it just doesn't.
No, I feel like you're one of them girls I probably have known for a long, long time. We could probably chat it up in the backyard over coffee for hours. We'll be good. We'll be good. But I would love to schedule you ladies to come over to the channel and talk with us again soon about some of this stuff. Because I have been... I have files, and I've got my Letcher County, so I save things to go for my next shows and updates. I do case updates on what I follow, and this is one of the ones we're following. We've read depositions, we've read case files, we've went over interviews on the show, and trying to keep my community caught up on the latest that is going on there, because it's important to keep this story alive and what really happened. With the very beginning of the show, you had one of my dear friends was in here here, and I didn't expect to see him. He didn't expect to see me. But when this case first happened, we immediately DM'd on X. What do you think's going on in Letcher County? And we kind of talked about it for a little while, and then we haven't had much conversation lately. So just getting it out there and keeping the word out. You guys are doing it whether you realize it or not. Whether people come in and chat while you're live or not, they're seeing the content. And so if I can help get it out there to the more of the masses, we'll do that. I talk about your channel on my channel. I will link you up in the chat. So we're here to help you guys get the word out there. Anytime you need something out or want to have a talk, hit me up and let me know.
Thank you.
I'm going to try to start growing a new X account because I don't have very many followers on the one that I've got. It's just barely doing anything. But I'm going to
I don't even know how to use it.
I don't, you know what? I've got an X account. I use X to do a lot of research. I read a lot on X, but I don't post a ton, but I use it to go look for a lot of things. You can find a lot of good things on there. But I share the streams out on X. You know, I've tried to get people to share them out on their other social medias. I also encouraged people to hit the like button for your channel. Also go back and watch your other lives and content because she really needs to get her watch hours up so she can get monetized. And that is one of the only ways to get that done is get your watch hours up. So when you guys come into the show, hit the like button, watch the whole show, go back and review some of her other stuff when you're cleaning the house, toss it on in the background. That's what I do a lot of times. If I'm up around the house, I'll throw on somebody in the background and I'm listening, and half the time I got to stop and take notes. I'll be honest. I'm like, where's my notebook? It can't ever be too far from me. But yeah,
that's me. I've got notebooks all over the place. You can ask Ty, and they've all got labels, and I'll sit and listen to them and
notes. I got sticky notes and folders. I got to get my shit together this weekend, though, because I'm getting a little scattery over here on my note table. But I do try to encourage people to come over and sub up to the channel and at least, watch your content, because those watch hours will really help get you up there. And you don't make a ton of money on these YouTube streets. I don't consider myself a grifter. I don't know how to do that. I don't never ask, hey, y'all donate. What? I don't ever think about it. But my mods drop my links. People can sub up. They can super chat you, super sticker, whatever. But you need those watch hours up. And if you're
we was stuck for like, what was it, 3 weeks? It was stuck at 1,200 watch hours. It would not budge. And then I moved down, and I freaked out, and I sent them an email, and then they took it down even more. Took like 8 hours away from it. Yes. And finally, it's back on the upswing, and we're at like 17 something, almost 1,800 this morning.
Yeah.
So it's finally starting to move along.
When you do a live or a video, use your hashtags, because people who are searching YouTube will search a hashtag. They might search hashtag Letcher County, and you want to pop up when they do, right?
Yeah.
So use your hashtags in your titles and descriptions, and we'll do whatever we can to help you get your watch hours up, because I just make money off ad rolls, honestly, and it's not a lot. It's not, but every little bit's going to help with what you're trying to accomplish.
We're trying to get Lexi's place off the ground and hopefully have a way to fully sustain ourselves without any kind of outside.
And even trying to make videos and presentations
to get our help.
Well, see, I was very hesitant about making videos or anything, and I told Ty, I said, your story and all the other ladies and all the other men, their stories is so important. I was willing to step back and step away from it, just not to discredit anybody, and because I feel that strong about what's happening.
You didn't want to have what's going on with your daughter hurt the case in any way, and
hurt anybody else. And and that was my concern with it. I mean, I love my baby. I'm trying my best for her, and I love my grandbabies, and I'm trying my best for them. But I didn't want this to take away from Ty and the other victims.
I can understand that. I can understand that, because there's going to be people out there who do absolutely use that and turn it and twist it and spin it. I'm not one of those people, luckily. I can see people aren't perfect. I am far from perfect. You know, I knock on wood, my kids are good, my life is decent, I don't have, you know, a lot of shit, but I'm not perfect. People aren't perfect. People make mistakes. There's a lot of ways to get people to get involved in things they should never have gotten involved with. But that doesn't mean they aren't good people. They can't be heard. They can't be seen. Just because of what you did 20 years ago, I'm not here to judge that today if you are doing well today. Okay. I've
Right.
been that 19-year-old, 18, 19-year-old girl. I did a lot of things before I started having babies. You
Yeah.
know, I'm
Well,
lucky
that's me. I have a
caught up
past.
in all kind of stuff.
I was fortunate enough that I never went to jail,
Yeah.
but you know, I made mistakes and I have a past, and I've been honest about mine. You know, and getting grandbabies, man, turned my life around. That was it. At that point, it was like boom. You know,
It was over
I
with.
right.
Yep.
And
it
I
did it. You know,
I grew up with
so
a mom who never let me judge people. Now, she would judge people if you had gotten yourself in a bad way and you never got yourself out and you never tried, then maybe she's going to sit down and say, "Hey, wait a minute, what are you doing?" Right?
yeah.
But if she saw somebody trying to claw their way back up out of something, she's going to be the one to stand there and help them.
See, that was me.
And
You know,
that's
I knew I wasn't perfect, and that's why I always kept my doors open for everybody. You know,
I've
to
heard you
help
talk about
and
that. Mhm.
things. And you know, now I just, you know, I don't know. This is just a situation I just wasn't expecting. You know, if Sarah would have had a problem and I'd have seen it, you know, I would have knowed. You know, with my past, I would have known right away something's wrong. You know,
Mhm.
but you know they were arguing, they were staying away from each other. You know, so it was kind of. I thought she was doing the best thing.
Yeah.
You know, and but
Well,
she's got too much of me in her, and she thinks she can fix everybody. And
Right.
you know, it took me years to learn. You can't do
Us
that. You know,
Well, us older ladies, we know that you can't fix nobody, and these young
no,
girls, trying to tell them that sometimes you're beating a dead horse, you know, how whatever the saying is.
yeah,
Fortunately, my daughter didn't get into that. Thank God she found a good guy from the get-go, but I've been there myself. I can fix
yeah,
him. All gotta do is love him enough, right? It'll straighten him out. No, that doesn't work, and we know that now, but could you have told me that at that age? I don't know if I'd have listened. I
no.
I'd
I
like to
know
think
I
I
wouldn't.
would, but yeah, I don't know that. I'm like, what do they know? You know what I mean? So, you know, again, it's like you don't judge somebody for what a past mistake was if they're doing better in life and they're moving forward. That's all
Yeah,
you can do every day. You get up, you own your shit, you do better,
exactly.
you move forward. And
yep.
um, I, I don't think they wanted a lot of people in this town to move forward.
They
They
still
wanted
don't want
people
to
to
own up to it. Is the thing. Like, even with all the mounting evidence, all the victims that have come forward, there are dozens silently supporting. But there are others whose interviews are um, coming soon. Um, that will be public soon, and they are going to share their identities. And then we have got guests lined up for the next couple of weeks um, to share their personal stories and experiences. And a lot of these people do have physical evidence. Like, we've just been
right.
waiting for authorities to give it to.
And I'm
Like,
still amazed
there was
that
like
they're not knocking on doors. Like, so let me ask you this. I think you and I touched on it when you were on the panel last on my show about the defense reaching out to some of the people on social media who are coming out. I don't even know how relevant it would be to the defense. When I say that, I mean as far as getting any of that into court as evidence, right? Because it's hearsay. So in Kentucky, got all these weird rules to begin with. So I don't
Yeah,
know if they could march you guys into court with a deposition to give your experiences, if they would even be allowed to come into court. That's why I was wondering, are there any minors that have been involved in the past year or two with whatever was going on that would be willing to speak up, or that their parents will allow to speak up? Let me also put it that way, because you never know what you just never know. So I don't know what the answer would really be, but the fact that that the state investigators even or the FBI or like in the Karen Reed case, it was this big secret FBI investigation going on into the investigation of the Karen Reed case, like not into Karen Reed herself, but into the investigation of the investigation. So are they even doing that? Is that being done at this point? That we don't really know. This is the Department of Justice. So are they secretly sneaking around? But you think there'd be some talk about the feds sniffing around if there was,
Or having conversation. Right now, the only thing that I think that we've even heard about feds in any way has to do with Medicaid fraud and what's going on with that. They're not even, as far as we know or what we've heard, they're not even looking at all the sex trafficking and all the other things,
And you would think they would. These allegations are being leveled against county officials and state officials. So where's the state? Where's the investigation into this situation? Because there should be. There absolutely should be.
It's like I told Ty, Ty has, she has everything I have. And, my daughter-in-law was harassed while my son was in jail, which is, a big no-no too. And so, it's not just Sarah, we have other things that went on in our family, and nobody's asking any questions. Nobody's, it's just been the spin that they want to spin it or how they want to spin it. That's what's happened so far. So it's just, I don't know. Ty can tell you, I've got stacks of evidence and paperwork and files and stuff that I've kept since 2006.
Yeah.
On, different things going on, and all these people coming out. Like I said, it's like putting a puzzle together.
Yeah.
Their piece will fit in with this, and, or this person's story, or, and these people aren't communicating with each other. I mean, they're, like I said, their stories are kind of, it's piecing that puzzle together.
Right.
Each one that comes out. And, there's safety in coming out together.
Yes. There really is. And when you start getting one, and then a couple more follow suit, and then these girls are like, you know what, this little handful of women are doing it, then they feel more empowered and strength in numbers, like you're saying. And then and they feel more comfortable about getting it out there, and they're not alone anymore.
But then they see things like, what's going on with Sarah, and or things like that, and it's an instant, oh crap, I don't want to put my family through this. I don't want to go through this kind of stuff.
And you know what? The powers that be will hope for that. Like the girl finally has some courage to go come forward, and then she sees this story in the newspaper tomorrow. Now she's changed her mind, right? And they won when they do that. If we can do a smear campaign on one and get it out there, and these other girls see it, then they're going to be scared right on off too, and they're going to go right back into silence, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that it's just it's wild. We knew when this happened, and we saw it on the news. Those of us in true crime that saw it immediately, we were like, "Whoa, this is not going to be good." That just
the story didn't make sense in the beginning. I know outsiders were probably thinking, why in the world would a sheriff walk in and do this? It just, outsiders didn't make sense to them. But Letcher County was like,
like,
somebody's done something,
Right. Exactly. Because because being in a small town where everybody knows everybody and everybody knows everybody's business and what's going on, of course the people had to have a idea of why that would have happened, right? Somebody in town would have had ideas. But for those of us, the masses that didn't know, you're right. We're like, what in the world? Why would that happen? And to my mind, it had to be something big. It wasn't a pissed off situation about a truck or a dog. You know what I'm saying? There had to be a major situation brewing. I got to go to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I had to run to the bathroom too.
Did you?
So Patricia, Okay. Well, I about screwed up. Anyway, somebody sent me the PRIA resource website.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The prison rape. Let me mute this TV. I had to come in here. My battery was about to go dead on me.
Okay, you start with that. I'll be right back. I gotta go grab that one notebook. I'll be right back.
My hair's killing me.
If I can get up.
I mean, okay. So, let's just do a quick overview. I'll read the introduction to this and explain like what it is and like why. Yeah, we're just going to go over it. Okay. Prison Rape Elimination Act. The Prison Rape Elimination Act, otherwise known as PRIA, was passed unanimously by both parties in Congress in 2003. The purpose of the act is to provide for the analysis of the incidents and effects of prison rape in federal, state, and local institutions, and to provide information, resources, recommendations, and funding to protect individuals from prison rape. So let's skip ahead a little. That's just like dates of when, like, it was all done. This isn't. Full text of the PRIA statute. It's not clicking. There it goes. My Wi-Fi's slow this morning.
Mine's asleep half the time.
Sorry, Tim.
I think it takes naps. I'm like, dude, come on.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. Well, this is just like facts and statistics. I was looking though to see like what's the chain of command, like whenever, like who all should be held responsible. There wasn't even a PRIA charge filed though, is the thing. Nobody even thinks to report it.
No, that's what I'm saying. She wasn't charged.
Like, why did the jailer not report it to PRIA is my point. Like, that's the only thing I'm saying Bert's guilty of is not reporting this shit and not taking care of it.
He thought that the ones working was dealing with all this stuff, and they were just, because they didn't want nobody coming in and looking at what's really going on down there. So it's easier just to fire somebody, get them out the door, and don't say anything, you know.
Fractions.
You've got people that have brought stuff into the jail that just, they got fired, you know. It was just kind of, you know, and so I don't know. There's so much wrongdoing. It's like you don't know where to start, or then you don't know what to do, and so it's a situation you feel like you're chasing your tail all the time, you know, and just, it's a mess. It's such a mess.
With some of the victims that are coming out and speaking out, maybe getting a timeline of their experience down. You know what I mean? When such and such had an experience, and with who, where, all the things. Just like a little timeline, because it's been going on for years. Obviously, it wasn't something that just started in the past year. That really was this idea today around, you know, the lunch at the damn diner. It didn't work.
I can give you a timeline from back in the 90s. I mean, you know, this stuff has just, I mean, and it just kept getting. I'll tell you what happened, honestly. Back when this was going on, they had it very organized. Everybody was smart. Everybody was keeping their P's and Q's. You know, everything was, they couldn't really do anything to them. And the more that we get further down towards where we are now in the timeline, you've got people that are in there that's not very smart, and they're not, you know, they were careless. they were being so careless that the uppers, or however you want to call them, were starting to panic because they were tearing their playhouse down.
Exactly.
So it was easier to say, well, Ben Fields and Mickey, it's all on them, you know. Let's get it as far away from us as we can.
Yeah. One thing I don't get is Mickey obviously wasn't going to go down without a fight and be the fall guy for whatever was happening or whatever they was going down, because we know he gave the deposition 3 days prior in the civil suit. But Ben Fields, what the hell, guy? Why are you taking the fall for all this? What did he get? A little slap on the wrist? Wait, he got a big old TV,
he got a promotion.
He got 6 months.
Cigarettes, so he got
months.
Wifey got state benefits.
So,
yeah, why got a new job?
Yeah,
why in this PRIA law.
Right, go ahead and take the fall over there, my guy. We got you. You're only going to do a little bit of time, and we're going to make it real cush while you do.
We'll take care of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Mickey wasn't going to play ball like that, right? Is that what happened at the judge?
And if you notice, when Mickey was like in the beginning, when they were sitting in the hallway, and Mickey was like, "Why not take me downstairs?" Yeah. You know, what if he was told the same thing? You know, hey, well, you know, we'll take care of you. It'll be all right. Because he was surprised that they wasn't going to let him go downstairs. They were taking him somewhere else.
And I think they were already on to the fact that Mickey wasn't going to play ball the way everybody wanted him or thought he would. The judge knew it, and I think the judge felt like, I can't say he knew because I don't know anything. This is all speculation. Did the judge feel like he had control of Mickey? I can manipulate Mickey.
Well, see, there was a rumor. There was a little bit of a rumor going around, and I'm going to say it's a rumor. It's speculation, whatever, that Kevin was in the process of possibly starting his own rehab.
Oh, goodness.
And so when everybody says they can't understand why the Goodwill people was in his office and he had all rehab people in his office, it kind of is starting to make a little sense now.
I understand fully why. It's
because he was
programming for profit, and they keep people addicted and keep you sick in addiction, so you'll stay quiet.
Exactly, because I've got things I have presented on my channel where Judge Mullins is being touted for his amazing drug court program over there, you know, in Letcher County, and how he saved so and so here with her little baby, and look at the great job I've done. Well, you got to polish it up and put a little bow on there to get people to believe you're doing good. So you got to have that one or two good outcomes. So yeah, he was heavily involved in the recovery of the women and men of Letcher County. More so to be focused on the women. So
I don't know.
It surprised me that he was going to open his own facility. Not at all.
But not a job with Goodwill. Like, you know, they were saying, I can't finish any program they've had that was public knowledge to anybody else. But, you know, that's like the ankle bracelet money. They had that to help people. But no citizen of Letcher County was aware that it was even there for use. So that money just sat there.
Somebody was paying them damn ankle monitors, because the company, I mean, I read all the stuff with the company that was providing him and all in the Benfield stuff, but somebody had to look, that system knows that's not being paid for. So if you got a woman exchanging something for, instead of money, the company who provided the monitor still has to get paid. They're going to be okay with, oh, y'all didn't charge her today, she gave you some sex instead. Okay, cool. That ain't going to work like that.
Yep. It's perversion. It's criminal. It's criminal. It's not
and I was really trying to get to the bottom of that in that document. I'm like,
they are committing crimes against these vulnerable people, men and women. And okay, listen, this is what PRIA says. Let me define, by the PRIA law, the definition of an inmate is any person incarcerated or detained in any facility who's accused of, convicted of, sentenced for, adjudicated, delinquent for violations of criminal law or the terms and conditions of parole, probation, pretrial release, or diversionary program. That's what house arrest is a diversionary program, or like a bond.
Yeah.
program. You are still under control of the jail as if you were an inmate. Okay.
See, I've had my oldest one on it twice. So, I mean, and it is, they, you know, it's, they have to call every time they leave. They have to call as soon as they get home. I mean, it's they're very, very, like with him, they was very, very strict. So I'm not really I'm like you, I'm not understanding how they didn't catch.
Right.
Hey, this ain't being paid for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, were they using that funding? Was they using that funding that nobody knew about and actually paying it, and he was getting favors and they were still getting paid?
Yeah.
Because nobody knew about that ankle monitor help or assistance program they had. Lord, I would have loved it because
right.
we were scraping pennies. We was scraping pennies to keep my son out of jail, you know, to keep it paid. And like I said, Mickey was never, not one time inappropriate. He was very business. He would ask how I was doing. Is everything okay? You know, how, you know, normal chit chat. But he never was inappropriate in any way.
It feels like to me, just the little I do know about Mickey and the situation so far, and this has just been an ongoing, I will have an ongoing theory that's likely to change. I will be building profiles that are likely to change. But with Mickey, it seems like he just wanted to be a good guy, a good cop. Was that what he was doing? Wants to help the community and get things done. And they just knew he was going to be that guy they could manipulate along the way. So he's going to be the perfect guy for the bailiff, for the sheriff position, because we got somebody we need to be able to control. If you're conspirator, you got to be able to control the people in your realm, whether they're a part of the conspiracy or not. You got to, that's part of
Mickey was a patsy.
You have to get people in place.
You know, Mickey was just a patsy. He was somebody, he was a very, I don't want to say gullible. I like Mickey, I do.
Manipulated him until he snapped, I think.
I believe that he was a little bit gullible.
I believe that with all my heart, that they manipulated him until he snapped.
I believe so too, because the first things out of his mouths are my wife and my daughter. I'm concerned. You don't think he was being threatened?
Do you remember that, Salty, the report saying that he had seen Daniel Dotson before that, and Daniel told him to kill himself?
I
know that was like in something, like on something.
That would shut him up real quick.
Somewhere.
So
it was in the document I just read too, Taya. I'd have to go back and look at what that was.
But if you think about it, if they could have shut him up that way, everybody would have just right on.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So why would you tell a friend to do that? You know, my brain's like,
because they knew Mickey was about to crack. And I think something went down at that luncheon, because there was a lady at the luncheon whose phone was taken. It was in the very early reports when this shooting first happened that there was something at the luncheon, a conversation was had, and this particular woman, I don't even know if I can recall her name, but she had texted something to somebody from the luncheon, and it was about whatever was said. Maybe it was. And
that worked at the sheriff's department.
Right. So there was some kind of conversation at lunch. And I don't know if it was, you know, if Mickey brought up the
plus
stuff or what it was about.
Mickey also, if I listened to it and got my notes right, Mickey also had stopped by Daniel Dotson's office that day. And he wasn't in.
Well, before he went back to the courthouse, they said he went to Daniel's office first.
Because he went and delivered the food earlier, though, right?
Yeah, he had. Well, no, this is before he left with Michael Clark.
Okay.
So it was before he went with Michael Clark.
Yeah, because when he come back with Michael Clark, they went straight into the judge's office. And if you watch the video of him coming down the hallway, you see Clark look straight up at the camera. Like, you know, he kind of shoots a look like a guilty person would, you know, like, he looked right at that camera.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, why would you, if everything was fine, if everything was good, there wasn't nothing you was concerned about, you know, why would you look up at it like that? And then he goes in, pointing
and let's also make sure that everybody remembers that's not the freaking chambers.
Yeah. Because Well, now, Taya, I'm glad you mentioned that because when we
That's
first
not.
saw the video of the shooting, I was like, damn, they got a weird little chamber over there in Kentucky. It was all cheesy, like a little storage closet turned whatever.
That's where they take everybody to sign.
You got to put in a camera because of the Ben Fields thing. They was like, oh, well, this is the chambers. And they
Right.
didn't
So,
the actual chambers.
so that where
Yeah.
the shooting took. So where he shot the judge at in the so-called chambers was really not the official chamber. It was just an office space they were using
Right
for whatever.
before you go back into the room.
Uh-huh.
And usually it was kind of used for like, I've been in there, I mean, to talk about, you know,
More of like a break
plea
room.
agreements
And then there
and
was
Right.
logins and different things.
Right, like a meeting room and stuff or
Secretary,
whatever.
sometimes you'll go in there
and they smoked. You know, it was a place they could smoke.
Right. Right. And because all the early reports where this was the judge's chambers, and when none of those of us who follow true crime and seen judges' chambers were like, well, that's an odd chamber, but okay, small town, maybe not a lot of money, whatever, old courthouse.
He's got a big
But
desk.
that was the room that they were that's the same room Ben was allegedly doing his business in. It prompted the camera installation. That's what we were told.
I don't think so. Right? I don't think it was the room Ben was using. I think that's what they told them.
This is
so they wouldn't catch
they put
somebody else.
So put the camera in the wrong room because they knew we were really getting it on down the hall. Well, so that's ridiculous. I would have ordered cameras in all the rooms.
Well,
we can't trust none of y'all. Chambers that happen all over the courthouse. There's a room, a break room upstairs that has like a vending machine and a table in it that I've been over that table. I can't tell you how many times.
Right.
There's one in the back there where the laundry.
They don't want cameras all over their courtroom, Taya.
That's
incriminating. Yeah.
They would be in so much trouble. I mean, really, there's so much that's just.
And how many county jails can you come on, let's be real here. How many county jails outside of tiny town America can you visit these days in 2025 without a ton of cameras and security in place, right? Cameras everywhere, every corner.
In the jail, right whenever I was about to get shipped out, they had just put it in the women's cell, right?
If you remember, Ty, Sarah even said it. She said that you can, if they keep the voice recordings, you can hear every word that's said in that break room. And she said, I don't care, you know, if they keep them, I want them to pull them. I mean, she even said it because she said you can hear them like sexually harassing, you know, stuff. You know, they were saying stuff to her. And, you know, so there's a lot of things, you know, they need to stop and think, you know.
Well, the feds or the Kentucky State Police, unfortunately, need to get in there and pull videos and audios, but we can't depend on the Kentucky State Police. I already know that. I already knew when I realized, oh God, the Letcher County's in Kentucky. Great, here we go. So I already know, you know, I've been following the Crystal Rogers case for years. We didn't even get to watch her trial when it finally just happened. You know, old Brooks got his way. No cameras in the courtroom in Kentucky, which was incredibly aggravating, but whatever. So even getting documents out of Kentucky, if you're not a state resident, can be a little challenging. And people, no matter what they want to say publicly, they don't always really want to share documents. It's on you to go find them. So I do that myself. But
I'm not real good at that. I'm learning though.
It's harder in Kentucky if you're not a state resident. Some states, I'm in Florida, we have the broadest sunshine laws in the country. What do you need? I can go get it right now on a FOIA request or right out of the.
That's what I was going to say for you. Normally for you should be able to.
But even with court documents, like Idaho has a beautiful website set up for all the documents in the Koberger case and Lori Vallow. And there's just other states that you can go to and just pull up the documents. Kentucky does not that easy, right? It's a whole different system.
Should I say what happened when we went to get the paperwork upstairs that they had to go to? Yeah, okay. We went into.
Go ahead and tell them a little bit about what was in it.
Okay. We went into.
What are we going to do?
Right. Everybody was telling us we needed all the case paperwork from the beginning to end. That way we can sit down and go through it. Right. So that day in court, just 1st of September, we went into court, got pushed again, and we still don't have a court date. That's wonderful. But it got pushed again. So I told Sarah, I said, let's get her files while you're here. Every bit of it. Let's get it. So that woman kept saying, well, we just got this ticket and this. And Sarah's like, no, there should be a whole case on my son and, my daughter. It's going on right now. And she was like, I don't see it. So they called somebody that had been working there, for a while, long time. And she's like, oh, they want the CI files. And I was like, yeah, that's what we want. I didn't know what they were, So they go across the hall into the judge's office and come back with stacks, and stop and look at us and said, is this what you're talking about? And Sarah was like, yeah, that's what we're talking about. They printed it off. I'm like, okay. So on the way home, I'm flipping through it. I'm going through it. And I'm like, hang on a minute. There's all kinds of orders that we have from the judge. They ain't in there. I have them, but they're not in the case. So when they go back and look, it looks like we are just these neglectful people that could care less about what happens to the kids. We've not been trying this whole time. And I was floored. So we have actual stamped, signed paperwork from Daniel Dotson, from Jimmy Kraft, and everything that's not even in this file.
They're not entering it into the dockets? That's illegal.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about their surprise witness and what was in the paperwork, who she was? Didn't they try to call a surprise witness that day or something?
Oh no, they just brought people in that, that it's like
is that person that they tried to come in and I don't know if they wanted them to vouch for them or say bad against you all.
Yeah,
but
bad against us.
That person had previously committed a crime against you.
Yes.
But so the document.
And I never did anything about it.
It was documented though. It's not even in the file.
Well, the stuff she's saying is missing. Was that filed by an attorney on behalf of Sarah or your family? The case
attorney,
and then it's not showing up in the case file you were given.
No, and then the evidence. Our lawyer turned in everything. Her drug test, everything. She turned everything in for evidence. Text messages, messenger stuff. Things for evidence, and there's nothing.
Well, if there's an open investigation, that type of stuff probably won't be viewable. But if the attorney files a motion or any kind of legal filing in the case, it has to go into the docket.
Yeah.
That's the illegal part if it's not there. Why?
Yeah.
It should be entered in.
And
I would go back to that attorney and be like, why are you filing documents? They're not entering. You need to do your job now. So there can't be a whole system failure in place and everybody just accept it and they think you guys are going to take it like that.
Yeah, and that day they was going to proceed without her attorney, and they were like, well, these witnesses took off from work, blah 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 blah. And I was shocked, but I was happy. Jimmy did the right thing. Because for a split second you could tell he was like, like he thought about it, but he was like, no, we can't proceed. Her attorney's not here. We can't do that. But then they put us out of the courtroom, and they stayed in the courtroom.
Well, and
So
it doesn't surprise me because every time I hear another story about it, sounds like they just kind of had their own little brand of justice there, and they just did things how nobody's paying attention to our court system and filings. We just go how we want. You didn't file it today, that's all right. File it next month. That kind of
yeah.
thing. They were real loosey goosey with their stuff around there. It sounds like so
There's
that
stuff in
really
that stuff. There's
surprises me.
stuff in that file that has not even been signed by a judge. No judge, not Daniel, not
I
Jimmy, not
And I would
nobody.
go back to the original attorney that helped file some of that because look, even Judge Gull in Indiana got in trouble when she went and entered things into the docket in the Rick Allen case. Then she took them back out and said, "Oops, no, not today." The Supreme Court was like, "Excuse us,
Right.
you better put that right back in there." That's public record. So
Yeah.
Kentucky wants to dance in the dark like Delphi. They got another thing coming when it comes to social media and our all eyes ability.
Yeah.
We don't like dancing in the dark. That makes you look real strange, and we gonna side eye you all day long now.
Yeah.
That can't be. There's a reason they want to dance in the dark, and that's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
It's but it's discouraging. You get that stuff and you're going through it and you're like, wait a minute, why? What? Why are you doing this? Is a small case between families. Why did you not just 50-50 this out and be done?
It
And
never have even been 50-50 because he's on camera being physically abusive to Sarah.
yeah.
He's on the jail security cameras. It was reported to his superiors.
So he works at the jail.
He put his hands on her.
He didn't work there. He had just went to visit. Yeah, he didn't work there. He had stopped by to visit, and that's when the whole thing with the baby happened. They were trying to maybe reconcile, and they had been talking about it. And Sarah was this loony over this other kid or other guy, and she was like, no, blah, 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 and that's what flared that, okay, fine, I'll hit you where it hurts. I'll take the baby. And that's basically what happened. And it's been since May 17th of 24 that, it's been very limited, everything. And now he turned it over to his mom. He didn't keep her. He made his mother guardian de facto, and he's not even in it. I mean, other than, I guess, finishing the divorce.
Yeah.
But, it's not like he did it to be with his child or to spend time with his child or anything else. He basically just got her and gave her to his mother.
Yeah.
That here. So, and that's the thing, that family, I care about them. And I tell the grandkids, Ty's heard me tell them, they'll tell me so-and-so don't like you. And I'll be like, well, I don't care. I love them. And they'll be like, why?
Right.
And I'll be like, because they love you.
Exactly.
Because they love you and they're good to you. Mama loves them.
Thank you, ma'am. So, I can totally relate to that. Totally.
And, so it surprised me when the other grandmother was just like, no, because like I said, even my ex-son-in-law, I had messages of him saying, he knew that she was safe with me. She was in good hands. He would call, just every now and then and ask about her. He had no interest, in being a parent at that time. And so, I didn't judge him for that. I got along with him. I had messages of me telling him, hey, I took the baby to the doctor today. And I would show him the little sticker, how much she weighed, how much, I always tried to include them in things, because when they took the oldest one, they cut me out for 3 years, just because of rumors and stuff that wasn't even true. And so for 3 years, I missed out. And I didn't start getting to see him again until Sarah had Scarlett. And so it kind of become we'll let you see him if we see her kind of one of them things. But then it kind of blended into, hey, this is working out. Everybody, everybody's at peace with this arrangement. And, now it's like, oh, they couldn't provide this, or they got this, but everything was fine. And that's what I think hurts me a lot, is because I really got, attached to the other family, aunts and uncles and things, they're good people.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand all this. I really don't.
It's got to be hard and confusing, and especially for the kids, you want to do what's best for them no matter what. And what's best is for everybody to love them and be a part of their life.
Right.
And that's all you want to
do. I have no problem with it, and I know that, there's no jealousness. And I've told Sarah before, I don't want to be a mommy. I done my mommy. I want to be a mama. I want to spoil them and just eat them up,
Yeah.
And so, I'm not somebody that, they should even be concerned about. I would never, put them babies in any kind of harm or and they know that about me, but I just, they seen this opportunity and they ran with it. And so it's like,
and for some people, that's all they need is that little, and when you don't think they will, they get a little bit of leverage. Oh, now I got something. Now watch me go be this way and it's sad when it's only hurting kids, because the kids don't know what's going on, mom, and what's going on.
I don't know what they know.
Right.
I don't know what they know. I don't know what they've been told. Ty's actually, that we don't ask them questions. We don't. They just tell us stuff. And
they offer it, though. They volunteer it because they trust their family.
And that's when
they're supposed to tell their mom and
exactly. I don't like it when kids press
something.
I agree, because when you're pressing a child, that's too easy. You just let them talk. That's when you hear the truth, and you hear what's really going on. And I hate that you find yourself in this position now. And hopefully, things will settle down a bit where your daughter's concerned and this family can get back on track with you, because it's certainly not fair to you or the kids.
No,
even for you to feel like I need to go into silence now so that I can go have a relationship with that's not fair to you either, to have to choose, go do what I feel is right versus what my heart tells me.
See, that's what they done to us in the beginning, because Sarah was told, shut up. Don't say another word. Don't expose another thing. Don't do anything.
Yes.
And it's like I told Ty this morning, I have nothing to lose now. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah.
Wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong, no matter how you cut it, no matter how you put it. Wrong is wrong. And so,
I wonder if Mickey realized the firestorm that he would create by doing what he did and allowing women to finally have the courage to come out and speak up. Because without that, it would have never happened. If people were still silent, Mickey would be over there, no one knowing what was going on still.
No, they would still be in court.
We'd still have a lot of speculation.
Certain people in drug court, putting certain people in jail, taking certain people's kids. They had more ways of controlling the women and men in Letcher County other than putting them in jail. Like
mm-hmm.
They would find something.
That's what I'm saying earlier. Like I feel like they could get you on many different things, not just by throwing you in the jail, but by hitting you where it hurts the hardest, taking the kids away, putting you into programs we know you can't achieve, programs we know you can't afford in the long run. And we're going to get you. It's like those who get into the system and they never get off the papers. They call it, if you come out of prison, do you got papers? I'm walking scot free. Nobody's on my back. But if you got papers, they're watching. Nobody wants that. And
that's like my son. He'll tell you, I've got 2 years. I can get my stuff expunged. He's scared to death. he's still terrified of them. Just point blank, he's still scared of what they could do. And so, he's always been, Mom, y'all be careful. Y'all be careful. Cause he's seen a lot, been through a lot.
Right.
And when I started with this, he was my main goal, was getting out that he's not a bad kid. They snatched him at 14 with drug court. And he didn't get out of the system until he was 29. He finally served out.
When they took him for the drug court and the option that they gave you.
Oh yeah, at first, because they give you the thing, that tells you the rules and what they have to do and everything. And it was going to be hard for us because I don't have a lot of money, didn't then either. And I told him, I said, is there something else he can do? Is there another program? And they told me if I didn't sign the papers that they would get me for parental neglect, and they would come and take Sarah and my other son. And they were 12 and 7 at the time.
Caleb, essentially, by threatening to take all of her children. Sacrifice this one, or we take them all.
Take them all. And,
that's not a choice.
I used to be a foster parent, and I've dealt with the court with my foster kids, before all this, before my divorce. And I told Ty we'll get into that story with everybody. That's a big one. But, I was blown away, to be on the other side, sitting there like confused, like, you all can't do this to me. But yeah, they could. They could. Because, I went to college to be a social worker and stuff. And so I knew a lot of the things they were doing just wasn't right. But nobody wanted to hear that. It was, you either do it or this is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of that control. To make a conspiracy work, you got to have control over the situation.
See, I went through a very
put in. They got to put people in positions they can control. If they aren't going to participate in the conspiracy, we got to have somebody in that office to control, or an officer there that we can control. That there's a lot of different things that can come into play, and then they find the ways to silence everybody, and then they own the town, right?
Yeah.
And when you guys, and I live in a tiny community, I can walk out to the front porch, look down the road and see the 4-way stoplight and the one store and the one gas station. And then I know I got to travel 15 miles that way, or 10 miles that way, or 12 that way. If I go that way, I'm going to be in Bama. But I got to go a distance to get the small town community networking, right? And when you got a tiny town, the closest one to me is about 8 to 10 miles down the highway, about 8 miles. I get down there, I got another one red light and a few businesses, right? And it's tiny. So only going to have 5 people in charge of the whole town, maybe, and that Letcher County may be a little bigger than that. But that's what I'm saying. It starts small, and you're only going to have a certain amount of people in charge.
I said, if you think about it, if you think about it, all the nepotism is going on in that jail and that courthouse. Right. That's the best way to keep a secret. Best way to keep a secret is you employ your family.
Exactly. And in small town America, a lot of times you got to know somebody to get the job at the wherever.
Exactly.
You can't just go in there and apply. You got to know your Uncle Tom, Dick, or Harry must have worked there, right?
Speak your piece.
Local gossip column.
No.
Do you know about this, Salty? Do you know what this is?
Oh, yeah.
Eagle has a section, and has from, I guess, A1 since day one, they've had this section where the public can call in. They can call
anonymous
and leave a message, leave a voicemail or email it or whatever, and say what you want to say. Freedom of speech, right?
Right.
So, there's a lot of really juicy ones in here, and a lot of idiots.
cool. I mean, is that like a local paper in addition?
Yeah, that's the Mountain
Okay.
Eagle. That's our
Oh,
only
it's in
paper.
the Mountain
They
Eagle.
reported all
Okay.
that
Yep.
about Sarah and
Yeah.
all the falsities that came
Yeah.
along with that, and their lack of reporting on everything else so far. Like I said, I said this morning I was going to give Ben Gish the benefit of the doubt and give him a day or two since it's the weekend to see this, because I'm wondering, why has nobody reached out? Why did nobody try to talk to Sarah or Brandy or even Cooper? Why did nobody try to talk to Coop?
Yep.
Nobody asked him for his birthday. They could have asked him. They could have run his record. You know,
Right.
They had his name. I mean,
they said they needed his birthday to get the police report for it.
it's right. It was right on this website. They got Sarah's.
It was right beside of
So,
hers.
who is the editor
So
of
it's
this paper
selective
again?
reporting. But now I will say that wasn't Ben Gish's article, that's Sam Adams's article, and that was something I wanted to point out. And that I just looked down and seen this, and I thought, well, how apropos. Somebody said, I'm not sure what hillbilly crime meant when she wrote that Sam Adams is a dill hole. At least he's not a pill hole. Well,
What?
don't you look like the idiot, because that's why Sam Adams looks like a dill hole, is because he's reporting a bunch of one-sided
Stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anything that makes the courthouse look good. I mean, at the end of the one that Bert Sloan did back, a couple weeks ago, when he was calling for an investigation, when his brother should be the one that does it. He's the one that's the actual jailer. But anyway, when he done his, the last part of it said that he was best friends with Kevin Mullins. I mean, okay, well, that says a lot about you, is all I can say. It says a whole lot about you. I wouldn't brag about that.
Right.
So,
but this is one to where she said, you've gone on YouTube many times and claimed that former Deputy Sheriff Ben Fields was never even asked a question about Kevin Mullins, when Fields was asked about him while under oath in a federal court deposition that covers over 210 pages. And then they're calling her a liar, but she did say like that. Yeah, he was asked about it. She's read that deposition out loud, by the way, where he was asked about it. So you're an idiot.
I've read the damn thing.
You're the one that's not paying attention.
I have too.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, I've read it. She has reported it. She's not lying about that. And he did. It was all in there. It was all in there, and they just declined to prosecute because Jennifer was killed. She was given a hot shot and murdered. The witness against Kevin.
They said she even come out and told them.
And they even told her how they was going to kill her. They told her that they were going to hot shot her.
Well, we all kind of know. Anybody that's had any addiction.
And told that they were going to, like, you know how they come down here and threaten to break my neck or whatever and blame it on my husband. They did the same thing to her and threatened that they were going to hotshot her and kill her if she proceeded. And guess what? She died of a mysterious overdose. So, yeah.
There's other people that has been claimed.
I'd like to see if she has a autopsy report, a toxicology report.
Yeah.
They need to be looking for lye and not just the fentanyl and stuff, but these other
wait. When did
they're cutting this dope with and stuff? They put poisons and chemicals in it. And
when did she pass away?
They give it to people. They'll give it to this crackhead down the road or something and say, here, go take his bag of dope and drop it off. Well, crackhead Sally ain't got no clue that she just got a free shot of dope for dropping off a bag, you know? She don't know that she just killed somebody.
We might can obtain her autopsy. Okay. So what county was Jennifer in when she passed?
Letcher.
Do we remember? Was it Letcher?
She had just got out of Perry County, I think.
I can do a FOIA request and see if I can get the reports. I don't know how Kentucky, if they'll honor them or not, but they should. There's a lot to there's a lot with this case that still needs to be unpacked, and I don't know when they'll set Mickey's trial. I don't know how much of this his attorneys are going to be able to bring into his court case. You know what I mean? As far as setting up as to why Mickey would have, you would have to think some of it has to come in, because other than just what was talked about in the deposition that may have triggered what Mickey did. If there were other
Right.
triggers and there was something bigger and his attorneys are aware of that situation, I would think they would be knocking on doors wanting to take at least an interview to see
I
if we
think
can
they're
move forward,
probably kind
you
of
know,
stepping back a little bit too to see like what
see what happens.
situations, with like all the girls,
Yeah.
because, like this stuff with
The
Sarah, that in their
yeah.
opinion, that, blowed her, what she said, out of the water. But like I told Ty, I said, still, nobody's come forward and said she's lying.
because they can't.
Right.
They can't.
Right.
They can't.
Yeah, I mean, even
the
as
only thing they have is to attack her character.
Right.
exactly,
And they
and
don't
that
even know her to be attacking her character. They don't
and
know
that might be a
nothing
concern
about
for
her
a defense
history.
attorney, but the defense attorney is smart enough to be able to look past that and
Yeah.
know that there's a pattern of we make all the women look bad who try to speak out. So
Yeah.
I would not allow that to deter me from at least speaking to some of these women. I don't know
Yeah.
when that will come or if it will come, but I feel like it should come. If I was on the defense, I would be like, "Excuse me, ma'am, can we have a conversation?" You know, but like I don't know, rules of evidence in Kentucky. I don't even know if they would allow any of that in to begin with. Well, they should if Mickey makes the same accusations, though, right? As far as what he knew and what he didn't know. If it lines up with what you victims are coming out and saying now. So if it absolutely lines up, then they got something there.
Yeah.
So
That's what I said. Everybody's story. That's why it's kind of important for people to come forward and we're together on this. Because, like I said, everybody's story is patching everybody else's story together like a puzzle.
So listen to
Another
this.
piece slides into place.
Yeah, this is part of the reason that's kept things quiet. It says how do so many people get beaten up after being arrested in Letcher County Jail and left to die somewhere?
Yep.
That's a very real thing.
Very, very real.
Now, because I've heard there's missing people unaccounted for, they've never been found, things like that. We had there's a couple of unsolved cases still going on in Bardstown, Kentucky. I mean, if I want to get real, that's a whole other show. But it makes me wonder about some of the things that happen in Kentucky.
Somebody here said, Brian Sloan, if you want to be elected as our jailer for a full term of office, then I would advise you do something about the food that you feed the people. My son came out of there weighing 10 pounds less than when he went in there. Nothing but slop is being served. If you don't have a cook, you better get one. If my son goes back in there and comes out like this again, I will do everything in my power to see that you lose the election. You better be doing something about food. They deserve to have food that is edible. If it happens again, I'm going way over your head. Maybe I should call Miss Elizabeth Jones and see if she can do something. We're trying to do something, honey. I hope
my son, listen, I understand that so much. My son, when he was in there, he ended up, when he come out, he had cancer. And like Ty was talking about the effects of no sunlight. He was there for 3 years down there. And I'm telling he on and off for years, but 3 years full, and it was during COVID. And I'm telling you, he come out sick. I mean, he was a mess, and he still, has to take medication for vitamin D. I think he's on all kinds of stuff from the effects of malnutrition and lack of sunlight and all the things that went on,
as many of us are. There's a lot of us that have permanent disorders from the lack of nutrition.
Yep.
Or from the lack of sunlight.
Okay, well, I don't like that stuff because people who do bad things deserve to go to jail.
Right.
I get it. But here comes the big but, right? Not everybody prisons and jails are not designed.
This isn't the Middle Ages.
You if you want people to go to jail for a little while and come out reformed or better than they went in, then by God, how are you treating them when they're in there? Are we doing the right things? Are we giving them the right tools, the right programs, the right food? Now,
Sarah, now this is a crime.
There are some good people that work there that did try their best to provide for us what they could.
But they're limited because
they're very limited.
My aunt,
like a Benadryl was a blessing, you know. Like
they would get in trouble.
Well, they can't give you that here.
Somebody didn't ask to see the dirty one first.
Yeah. Now here,
I've had to show a bloody pad to get a clean one.
Yeah, locally, I had an aunt who worked at the jail for a long time, worked in the kitchen. She was like their top whatever. Now, our sheriff at one point did stop, like at lunch, you were either going to get a peanut butter and Cairo syrup sandwich or you're going to get your little ham sandwich, but you got fed. They should feed them. They should not say, well, we don't have a cook or we don't have the means. Where's the funding to operate the jail?
A prime example is Sarah, where she's at right now. She's already had mental health come around, talk to her, try to get her medications, you know, to where she's got them and she's level and okay. You know, she's not complained about not eating or, you know, and I mean, that's a relief, you know, to not have to worry about everything else going on and then worry about whether she's getting fed, clean clothes, clean, you know, being treated like a human.
Right.
Because my son wasn't, you know, there was no humanity.
It's too easy to blow that kind of stuff off a lot of times. People are like, oh, we're talking about criminals, who cares? But not, come on, we gotta be realistic at some point. You know, not everybody's a hardened criminal and deserves not to have a meal. Especially if they're going to jail to try to get it together and we want them to come out better. We got to try to help them get there. That's all there is to it. But where's the funding going that are supposed to take care of the jail food and things of that nature if it's not being done, right?
When are they getting inspected? In other jails, they come around and do regular inspections. The state
jails.
Right. There was none done there.
None.
And when they are, there's a warning.
They don't turn evidence over
and tell you to paint over the mold or to hurry up and clean up the water out of the floor.
They make the inmates do it.
Yeah. Make the inmates clean up while the inspectors are on their way. That's the only time I've ever seen them do one there.
Yeah.
Isn't this rich? Listen to this. Somebody said, yes, I knew the founders of this paper and they would be ashamed of you. Stop taking sides and printing to get away with the sexual deviants in that county. And the editor replied, you sound older, but not old enough to have been around when this newspaper was founded in 1907, and we don't take sides in our reporting. We're not the internet or social media. We're still required to print facts, not innuendo and rumor. That's fucking rich, Ben.
I'm about to say that whole statement is word salad.
If you ain't about the knowledge, you need to have a talk with Mr. Sam.
If you ain't talking to both sides,
what they call him, a dipshit or a dillweed, whatever the hell he is, a clueless.
Well, if they're not reporting on both sides, that's not journalists. Journalists report both sides and allow the audience to make a decision
and report
an informed decision.
Facts. I brought the facts. We brought the facts. We presented.
Yeah.
Well, and also a lot of times the powers that be try to use their mainstream media to help discredit what us big mouths on social media have to say, because we have opinions and we're not bound by the mainstream media weakness that we can't get up here and have an opinion. So they can stop it with that. Locally, okay, there was this big story popping off once, and I know that a reporter was asked not to air a certain story. It's not going to look good for us. Could you just not today? And they agreed and then regretted it. And then came out a long time later to talk about that. And I respected her for that. And it helped me understand a little bit of like the politics of the town, right? So you got the Mountain Eagle over here, the only paper in town, been around forever and a day. Yeah, they are probably really good friends with a lot of people in the town, of the higher ups that were doing the dirty deeds. Do they really believe their friend was doing that, or are they just really in full protection mode? You can't believe. I want to be able to believe what I read in their newspaper, right? That I'm getting the facts, like she said, from both sides. But you can't. I can go watch a mainstream
Going
media
on.
piece this week. I can probably watch 2 to 3 and go, wait. That is a wrong fact you just put out there to the masses. But yet I'm trying to
Yeah.
report the facts on my channel. Of course, we will have opinions and theories and discuss those. I got a banner that clearly states it. We're grown ass people in true crime. We're going to discuss it. But we also try to offer up the facts as well, because not everybody's running to mainstream media for their local news. Not everybody's looking for their national news. I don't go in there and turn the TV on like I used to when my kids were little and catch the evening news in the background while I'm cooking supper. No, I'm going out in the backyard now with my coffee and I'm picking up my social media and I'm watching Hillbilly Crime, or I'm watching Appalachian Dreamer, right? And I'm watching News Nation pieces. Oh, look, Ty, they got that Court TV's got Letcher County. I'm going to go see what this is about. And then I'm going to go take what I learned from the mainstream media or read in print, and I'm going to go do my own research now and see if I can add to it or verify it or debunk it. That's how my brain usually rolls.
Yeah, if you're wrong about something, you can debunk it. Come and tell me. Show me that, and we will share that too. Like was saying that about Michael Clark earlier. They were like, oh, well, they said that was a 50-year-old man and it's just a mix-up. And I was like, well, okay, I remember that, and I remember when it was debunked. But, like, if it is somebody else and you can prove otherwise, then I will share that. Like,
exactly.
I will be fair to them
I'm
too.
all about some receipts and proof if we got it.
Just because I know
See,
that
I've had.
I won't share the part that we find out that's not true. I'm going to weed it out.
Yeah,
I've had receipts for a week.
Yeah.
I've had the receipts for a week, and I told Ty, I said I've not said anything because they had already done their damage.
Ran with it.
Damage is done. So it's kind of like I just wish somebody would have said, "Hey,
at least reached out and got your side of the story, or a statement from your family, or representing
this
Sarah."
The importance of telling your own story and telling your side of the story.
Yes.
This is the other ones out there, the other victims. There are going to be people that don't want to be brought into this, that are going to be brought into it just because they were part of it. And there's nothing that we can do to keep it from all being uncovered. But
because
we want to keep them safe and private when they request it.
Right. And it's not like you're out here trying to do damage control.
We want them to be aware.
Yeah.
That this is the kind of thing that can happen. Whenever you don't take initiative and tell your own truth. Like, look what they've done to
important. Because you don't want it. It's not
example.
Yeah,
we weighed it out.
You're not coming out here trying to do damage control, but you're coming out here and getting the truth. Because right now, if you go look at the Mountain Eagle, the headline is "Woman featured in national reports about Stein's case faces drug charges." That's the headline,
and it has nothing to do with Mickey.
It's going directly after her credibility, right? And look, you can't believe what she said about Steins over there on that News Nation report. Look here, she's over here in the jail on drug charges. What? So, how did she get there? Now we got questions about that, right?
And even if she was even if she had been guilty of that stuff, even if it was hers, think about it like this: the pressure, that this and that these people. I had thought about relapsing. I had thought about relapsing a lot.
I'm sure,
but I know that if I do, it's going to be laced. I know that if I do, they're going to kill me.
Scared to death.
I will not do it. I won't do it. At this point, there's no fucking way.
No, girl, you owe it to yourself.
Sarah doesn't have
promise of talking about these things. It is difficult, and it's difficult for others to hear us talking about it. Even people who aren't comfortable sharing their story. It's hard for those victims.
Well, here's the thing about that. sometimes uncomfortable conversations have to be had, and I feel like a lot of times
Yes.
it makes the people listening a little more uncomfortable. I can talk about things very matter-of-factly that were deeply effective in my life that at the time I couldn't have talked about that I can talk about now, and I can do it so matter-of-factly. People are like, "Do you even have feelings?" Yeah, I do, but I'm compartmentalizing, and I don't bring feelings to the table when it's something that I'm just trying to make everybody understand that we understand. So we've been there kind of thing.
Yeah, we need an understanding with
So
this.
if people can come in and get to that where you are, right? You've lived it and you can talk about it, and that's true healing. When you can talk about your experience and candidly, and you're not looking for sympathy, because you know what I mean. That's a sign. That's a sign of true healing. And I think you are there, and you're headed there, and you've been there for a long time. And I really hope that you. I think you got the strength to stay clean. Like I know you can do it. I don't see anything about you that you want to go do that, but I know you've thought about it. Hell, girl, there's times I'll go out in the backyard and think, damn, if I was a drinking woman, today
would be the day, right? And I mean,
if I was my granny, I'd be getting my drink on right now.
I've been able to get myself back together, like I'd use and then like realize, like, wait a minute, what am I doing? And get my shit together, straighten back up. Like it's about not getting stuck in it. Relapse, sadly, is a part of addiction. It really is. And that is a sad thing. But the thing with Sarah is she was never addicted to those things.
Sarah's never had a problem.
Right.
So that's why it was so shocking too to be like,
well, they had to find a way
and
to
the guards, and that's another thing.
Like, oh, well, she's just a dope head, and that's why she lost her kids and shit. That's all lies. That's all bullshit.
No, and the guards even noticed it. One of her told her, said, she said, I thought at first, yeah, you probably full of shit, but she said, you're not withdrawing. She said, if you were on those substances, she said, you would be a twisted mess. And she said, you've not had, Sarah went in and slept that night. She wasn't withdrawal. No withdrawal.
Say, give me a cup to pee in. She's ready to show, like, she did not do this.
And the difference between Sarah and some of the other girls is Sarah wasn't a victim of what was happening, but she worked at the jail. So how do you get to her? We got to discredit her in any way we can.
Got to make her a criminal.
Right. And we got exactly.
Oh, she can package in. Oh God, we got to put a stop to that.
Right.
She's got too many rights.
Yeah.
I mean, even if she didn't have anything, right? Anything, nothing in her background, nothing at all. I think they would have tried to find something. And I wondered that when she spoke out, because she's young, and I'm like, well, did she quit her job at the jail because she didn't like what she was seeing, didn't want to be a part of it? What's went on since then? I always think about those sorts of things, and now I'm learning a little bit more about Sarah as well. But still, nothing about her gave me a reason to discredit anything she's not even this.
Sarah loved, absolutely thought the world of Bert. She did. He has been involved with our family since my son. So he's been a part of like Sarah growing up, literally. And she did. She thought the world of him. So when she got the opportunity to get a job down there, it tickled her to death because she had no clue what actually was, like really happening. Like we said, it's all been rumors our whole life, but you think, well, that's rumors, But she just, when she went into this job, she did, and I think that's why when she failed the drug test for marijuana, they kind of pushed it aside and employed her anyway, and told her they would come back and test later. Because, I think they thought Sarah was going to mold and be one of them. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So, I think that was the thing with him was he knew our family, he knew our history, he knew everything that went on, and he knew that Sarah, God love her, because of her autism, you can convince her the sky was purple. Honestly, you can.
She would have been another prime candidate to put into a position to play ball.
Yep.
To do it our way.
And as soon as she went in, sexual harassment started right away. And they don't realize she has a cell phone. They sent messages through a cell phone to her about these things. So, it's kind of like, she could have really, when she interviewed with Brandy, and she could have, yeah.
Yeah, she
But
could have said or done a lot more.
Yeah, but
it's probably best at this juncture that she doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I said, because, she wasn't trying to be spiteful. She wasn't trying to really hurt anybody. She just wanted the truth out. It's bothered me for years. I know what time them went through for, 20 years now.
Yeah.
And that was a hard thing to carry. So,
sure. When you guys feel like you don't have nowhere to go, nowhere to turn, and who's going to listen, when the judge in the town is one of your biggest fears, you certainly can't go there. Can we, even though Mickey may not have been involved in anything, you don't know that. Can you trust this guy? He's the sheriff. You got the bailiff over here doing this, that, and the other, and is a lot going down. Who do you trust? And like you said, there's even, it's rumored out there that Mickey wanted an investigation opened, but I haven't seen that documented anywhere yet. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but it's not true. Maybe he absolutely did go in. I find it hard to believe that Mickey would ask for an investigation if he knew people he was good friends with was involved, without approaching them first and having a conversation. So I don't know, that could have even happened, right? Maybe he had an initial conversation with the judge. Judge is like, what the hell are you talking about, Mickey? Get out of here. We're not doing this. And Mickey's like, okay, well, I'll ask for an investigation. And then they were like, sir, no, we're not doing that either. What does Mickey do at that point?
Yeah.
Apparently you walk in and shoot a judge.
I think it was just overload. I mean, they've already testified, the day before it happened, he had to be taken to the doctor. They were concerned about him. His family said he hadn't slept for days, and sleep deprivation can cause hallucinations. It can cause a lot of things.
Oh, I know.
And so to have all that bearing down on you with the threat of it possibly coming on him, whether, because what Ben did, maybe Mickey didn't train or do this or that, but he was under a lot of pressure already. But there was a lot behind the scenes that people didn't know that he also was being pressured with, So, him snapping doesn't really, it don't surprise me. I mean,
yeah, I'm not surprised by it, especially if he was, aware or becoming aware of things going on in the town, and especially knowing that Ben Field's deposition had just happened and all of that was at play. And you can tell it's all absolutely involved. You'd be a fool to believe there's no connection to whatever that was with the Ben Fields case and what happened in the judge's office that morning.
Yeah.
So you just can't say there's no connection. There absolutely
well,
appears.
If you look at the deposition, he answered a few questions straight out, and then they took a recess. And after he come back in, it was like, I don't know. So you just wonder what was actually said to him and put on him as far as,
Yeah.
So
well, there's still a lot that we have got, left to figure out with Mickey's case as well. What's going on there? How will things progress, and what, if anything, will be done with these allegations that come out? I mean, because you don't want. I think they all need everybody has the right to come out and speak and say their piece and get it out there. But God, I hope that something can be done about it in the long run. We want it to stop there, obviously. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to get it to stop, so that the next one in line to come in charge doesn't make sure it continues to happen to the next generation of young girls and, you know, those young men that will be in charge of that. It's ridiculous. It's got to stop. So hopefully this will shed so much light on what is happening there. We will see further investigations going on into what's went on there all these years. So I think it's absolutely worth. That would be so hard to believe that the FBI wasn't at least side-eyeing what's going on there. And maybe the Department of Justice is looking into things we're not going to know about it, right? They don't knock on the door and say, "Hey, we're here." So they sneak around, they do it quietly. So hopefully that can be something that they're doing going forward.
Yeah.
But, well, ladies, I need to go. I do appreciate you guys doing this and coming out and letting me come on with you, Taya, and being here for the conversation. I appreciate that. Like I said, we'll continue to help get the word out there and spread awareness for what's going on there and your stories and the information that's being shared. And I see anything new come down, I'll certainly hit you up. I'd love to get you ladies on soon for a chat on the show as well. Anything you need, Taya, going forward even with the Restream, anything, questions, let me know. I'll be glad to help you out.
Thank you for fixing this up with the Restream.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to do. I'd been trying from Rumble, but I couldn't figure out how to send like multiple links, and I was just really
no, you're good.
When you finally coming together. So.
She sent me a link this morning, guys. It was going to be like live from YouTube. I'm like, wait a minute, man, I can't. I don't put my face on camera, and this won't let me turn my camera off. So I need to figure this out. But yeah, I'm glad you got it figured out. And like I said, we're here to help you guys get whatever else, whatever needs to get out there, the stories, sharing those, because I think when people hear, you know what, I have a similar story, or, oh my God, I'm not the only one to ever go through that. That opens up a door for somebody to get them on a path to healing for whatever it is they had going on. And then one day have the strength to come out and talk and help others as well. So even if nothing legally happens out of this story, showing other people this is what can happen and how it happens, and showing other women that this is not the way it has to be. So I commend you ladies for coming out and doing it.
We're going to do everything that we can to debunk like everything that they come at us with. Like we will. Y'all got questions? Ask them. Put them in the comments.
Ask them.
Send us
seriously.
Message. Like, we want you to ask. We want to be transparent. We want to do this right.
You want the truth out there, no matter how ugly it is. And if people want to make an accusation, then come and ask the source, right? That's the way I am.
Yeah.
I don't think you ladies are going to lie about it or try to sugarcoat it or make it look like it's something it wasn't. You're going to be honest about it. And I respect that more than those who are obviously, they try to do the opposite of that, right? I appreciate it more when you can tell, to me, I get more from those who are being the real and the honest. I can believe that going forward. So I appreciate all your honesty here.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
And if y'all missed it, we shared the proof in the live that we did this morning. It was live with Brandy and Ty. So
y'all go check out that live from this morning and check out her other stuff and help her get her watch hours up. And we'll all do it here as a community, help her get going. All right, guys, y'all have a great rest of your weekend. Taya, I will be in touch. Brandy, nice chatting with you as well. I'll see you
nice chatting with you.
To everybody in the chat, hit the subscribe button and the like and the share on your way out, guys. Thanks.
All right, guys.
I gotta figure out which button to push. There it is.